Welcome dear students to module 4 of the subject cryptography. In this lecture we will be learning about the prime numbers and Fermat and Euler's theorem. What is a prime number? A prime number is an integer which is greater than 1 if and only if its only divisors are plus and minus 1 and plus or minus p, the same number itself. So any integer a greater than 1 can be factored in a unique way as a is equal to p1 to the power of a1 into p2 to the power of a2, so on up to pt to the power of at, where p1 is smaller than p2 is smaller than pt. These are prime numbers and where each ai is a positive integer. So this is known as the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So here you can see an example. So 91 I can factor it as 7 into 13, that is 7 to the power 1 into 13 to the power 1. Similarly, if I take 3600, I can write it as 2 to the power 4 into 3 square into 5 square. You can observe here 2, 3 and 5, all the three are prime numbers. 4, the powers 4, 2 and 2, they are positive integers. Similarly, consider one more example where we have 11,011. So that I can factor it as 7 into 11 square into 13, where 7, 11 and 13 all are prime numbers. So in this way we can factor the numbers in the unique way using fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Now let us learn about Fermat's theorem. So Fermat's theorem states that if p is a prime and a is a positive integer not divisible by p, then a to the power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod p. So now let us see the proof of this theorem. Consider the set of positive integers less than p, that is I can write it as 1, 2 up to p minus 1, less than p we need, and multiply. Now we have to multiply each element with a mod p to get the set. So after multiplying this, what do I get over here? I get this as x is equal to, so I need to multiply a mod p. So a mod p, comma 2a mod p up to p minus 1 a mod p. So this will be the set. Now none of the elements of x is equal to 0 because p does not divide a. Furthermore, no two of the integers in x are equal. To see this, we assume that JA is congruent to KA mod P, where J is greater than or equal to 1 and K is greater than or equal to J, which is less than equal to P minus 1. Now because A is relatively prime to P, we can eliminate A from both sides. So what do we get? We get it as J congruent to K mod P. Now this last equality, that is J is congruent to K mod P, is impossible because J and K are both positive integers less than P. Therefore, we know that the P minus 1 elements of X are all positive integers with no two elements equal. Now we can conclude that X consists of set of integers 1, 2 up to P minus 1 in some order. Now, multiplying the numbers in both sets p and x and taking the results mod p yields to a into 2a into p minus 1 into a equal to 1 into 2 into p minus 1 taking mod p common. Now here I can write this as a to the power p minus 1 into p minus 1 factorial congruent to p minus 1 factorial into mod p. So we can cancel out p minus 1 factorial term because it is relatively prime to p. So now we have proved that a to the power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod p. So this is Fermat's theorem. So let us solve some numericals using Fermat's theorem. So the given question over here is, we have to solve for 2 to the power 35 mod 7 using Fermat's theorem. So from this question I can write a is equal to 2 and p is equal to 7. So as per the statement of Fermat's theorem, we have a to the power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod p. So if I substitute the values here, 2 to the power of p minus, that is 7 minus 1, is congruent to 1 mod p, that is 7. So 2 to the power 6 is congruent to 1 mod 7. So I get this here. So 2 to the power 6 is congruent to 1 mod 7. Now we have over here 2 to the power 35. So what I will do over here is, first I will divide this 35 by 6. So if I do this, I get here 5, right? This is 30 and I get 5 as a remainder. So I can write 35 as 6 into 5 plus 5. So here I will write it as 2 to the power 6 into 5 plus 5 mod 7. So I can write this as 2 to the power 6 into 5, okay, into 2 to the power 5 mod 7. So as per Fermat's theorem, we know that 2 to the power 6 is congruent to 1 mod 7. So here I can write 2 to the power 6 as 1 to the power 5 into 2 to the power 5 mod 7. Okay. So what is 2 to the power 5 mod 7? 1 to the power 5 is 1 itself and 2 to the power 5 is what? It is 32 mod 7. 32 mod 7 will be 4 mod 7. So this is your answer for 2 to the power 35 mod 7. So this question we have solved using Fermat's theorem. Let me consider another numerical. So it is 128 to the power 129 mod 70. So this also I have to solve using Fermat's theorem. So here we know that A is equal to 128 and P is equal to 17. This you should remember that A and P are relatively prime to each other. So now as per Fermat's theorem, that is A to the power P minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod P. I can write this as A to the A is 128, P is 17 minus 1, so this will be 16, is congruent to 1 mod P. Now what we will do is, we will divide this 129, that is the power whatever we have here, by 16. So when I divide, I get this as 8. 16 into 8 is 128. So remainder is 1. So I can represent 129 as 16 into 8 plus 1. So now let me just rewrite this as 128 to the power of, so 129 I can write it as 16 into 8 plus 1 mod of 17. So further rewriting, I can write this as 128 to the power of 16 whole to the power 8 into 128 to the power 1 mod 17. We know that 128 to the power 16 is congruent to 1 mod p. I can write this as 1 to the power 8 into 128 mod 17. So 128 mod 17, I'll get the answer as 9 mod 70. So finally, so 128 to the power 129 mod 17, the answer is 9 mod 17. This is as per we have solved this using the Fermat's theorem. Let me consider another example. 29 to the power 25 mod 11. So here A is equal to 29 and P is equal to 11. Here also you can see A and P are relatively prime to each other. So as per Fermat's theorem, I can write A is 29 to the power P minus 1. That is 11 minus 1 will be 10, will be congruent to 1 mod 11. So now we have to the power 25. So 25 I will have to divide by 10. So if I divide by 10, this is 22, okay, 20, so remainder is 5. So I can write 25 as 10 into 2 plus 5. So this I can write it as over here 29 to the power 10 into 2 plus 5 mod 11. So here I can write this as 29 to the power 10 whole to the power 2 into 29 to the power 5 mod 11. So we know that 29 to the power 10 mod 10 is congruent to 1 mod 11. So you can write it as 1 to the power 2 into 29 to the power 5 mod 11. So after solving this, you get the answer as 10 mod 11. So before learning about Euler's theorem, let us see what is meant by Euler's torsion function. So Euler's torsion function is written as phi of n and defined as the number of positive integers less than n and relatively prime to n. So let us consider n is equal to 7. So if I consider n is equal to 7, so let me just list out the number from 1 to 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Now let us see which are relatively prime to 7. So 1 is relatively prime to 7, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, all these numbers are relatively prime to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have to list, yes. Now, so what do I write here? So I have to count these numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So phi of n is equal to 6. So if I have a prime number, except that number, all the other numbers will be relatively prime to n. So if phi of p is asked, then simply the Euler's torsion function will be p minus 1. Considering another example, say if I consider n is equal to 37, we know 37 is also a prime number. So the torsion function phi of n will be 37 minus 1, which is equal to 36. This is the Euler's torsion function for a if the number is prime. Consider another example where I have to find the torsion function for phi of 10. So if I list the numbers first, let me list out the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So now let us see which and all numbers are relatively prime to 10. So 1 and 10, yes, this is relatively prime. What about 2? No, 2 is not relatively prime to 10. So this I have to cancel because 10 can be divided by 2. 3 and 10, yes, this is relatively prime. 4 and 10, we have 2 as a common divisor there. Okay, common factor. 5 and 10, I can divide 10 by 5. So this is also not a relatively prime to 10. Then 6 and 10, again 2 is a common factor. 7 and 10, yes, relatively prime. 8 and 10, again common factor we have 2. 9 and 10, yes, it is relatively prime. So how many numbers? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 5 of 10 will be 4. Okay, so now, or I can also do it now. Every time we cannot list out all the numbers and cancel out the numbers which are not relatively prime to that particular given number and write down and count and write. So here, in case if we have a number phi of n, and if I can write this as product of two prime numbers, then I can write it as answer as p minus 1 into q minus 1. Now consider the same example, phi of 10. I can write this as phi of 10 is phi of 2 into 5, where 2 and 5 both are prime numbers. So p minus 1, that is 2 minus 1 into 5 minus 1. So I get this is 1 into 4. So I get the answer as 4. Alright. In case if I consider another example, phi of 14. So I can write 14 as a product of prime, 7 into 2. So this is 7 minus 1 into 2 minus 1. So I can write it as 6 into 1, where the answer is 6. So phi of 14 is 6. This is one more way of finding the Euler's torsion function. Let us consider another example where we have to find a torsion function for 240. So now this 240, I cannot represent it as a product of primes. So what we will do is, let us just find the factors here. I'll just factorize. So I'll divide by 2. So this is 120. Further division gives me 60. 230 by 2, again I get it as 15. And finally by 3 I get it as 5. So I can represent phi of 240 as, this is that fundamental theorem of arithmetic. If I use, I can write it as 2 to the power 4 into 3 to the power 1 into 5 to the power 1. Okay. So now I can write this as 2 to the power 4 minus 2 to the power 3 minus 1. 4 minus 1, that is 3, into 3 to the power minus into 3 to the power 0, into 5 to the power minus 1 into 5 to the power 0. So this will be 2 to the power 4 minus 2 to the power 3 will give me 8, into this will give me 3 to the power minus 1 into this will give me 3, into this will give me 3 to the power 1 minus 3 to the power 0. So here we'll get 3 to the power 1 is 3 minus 3 to the power 0 is 1, and here it is 5 to the power 1 minus this is 1. So 8 into 2 into 4. So I'll get the answer as 64. So if I generalize this, if I can represent that phi of n, first you have to see if it is a prime number. If it is a prime number, it is p minus 1. If it is not a prime number, then we have to see if we can represent it as a product of prime numbers. If not, we have to see if we can represent it as a product of power of primes. So if it is in general, if I can write it in this form, that is phi of n is equal to phi of p1 to the power a1 into p2 to the power a2 into p3. I'll just take 3 terms for explanation purpose. You can write it like this. Then the Euler's torsion function will be p1 to the power a1 minus p1 a1 minus 1 into p2 to the power a2 minus p2 to the power a2 minus 1 into p3 to the power a3 minus p3 to the power a3 minus 1. This is the way we find the Euler's torsion function.